joke about us going live, but for folks at home, we are listening to, you're watching Politics Off the Cuff on Rainier Avenue Radio, and if you're listening to this broadcast when we put it up on our site, it is currently Friday at 3:37. So this is time for your annual slice of political commentary and analysis. My name, of course, is Cliff Cawthon, or if you want to go my straight government name, Clifford Carl Cawthon. That's a tongue twister, right? And I have Mr. Riall Johnson back again in the studio with me. Previously the mastermind campaigner behind the push for I-940 and I-873, both of which were de-escalate Washington, right? No, you're allowed to do that. It was an excellent campaign. So it's great to have you back with us.
Thanks. Well, I hope it's still an excellent campaign.
Right.
It seems that since the Supreme Court ruling put it back on the ballot, they have to restart a campaign. I'm doing other campaigns now, but I think they're in a good position that it'll still pass. So yeah, it's it's still an excellent campaign, and people should still go vote for it.
So tell us a little bit more about that. Like, let's expand on it. What was the drama that surrounded it? Because previously the state legislature basically, from my understanding, kind of slapdash at last minute, put something together so it wasn't on the ballot first time, right? But now it's going to be on November ballot. So how do we get from it's in legislation, it gets or a version of it gets passed in legislation to it's going to be on November ballot?
Well, if you want the exact details, you might want to talk to people still, like the board,
right?
The campaign, and they're pretty easy to get a hold of. You go to the website. My job was to get it qualified, and me and my staff, were hired on in August. We raised $1.2 million in 5 months and got 365,000 signatures. And
impressive.
Brought it to the legislature and said, "Here you go." We were, of course, the staff. We all got laid off afterwards. There was really no need for us, I guess, afterwards, because I guess there was a deal that was going to get made with 940 getting passed, but also this amendment called HB 3003. So it compromised a little bit, but seemed to be acceptable compromises. Not with the first day there were some reasonable things, but the main part was the de-escalation training, the malice and good faith. Laws were changed, and still independent investigations were still on there, but with the last minute and haphazardly way it got passed, it was an incorrect procedure apparently. Got challenged in a court, the local court, and they threw it. They threw it away. They threw that passage away, put de-escalate back on the ballot, but then they challenged it into the Supreme Court, and then that just got ruled last month to get they lost that challenge. Just got put on this. It's going to be on the ballot this year. It's a double-edged sword. It's unfortunate because I think that's what the both groups, they came with the police unions and de-escalate organization came to an agreement. That's what the stakeholders wanted. Even the families wanted that. It seemed like that. And then, but the good news is it's an uncompromised bill that's going to be on the ballot that I have confidence that will pass. So it's a silver lining between it. Them not getting what they want, but this is still what the people want.
Right.
Just a little longer. They have to wait.
Right.
But from now, it's 6 months longer. But this is going to be a lifelong decision. With that malice clause gone and these new officers getting new training, this is going to save lives in the long run. So 6 months difference is a small thing to look at over the long term if this bill passes still.
Right, because under the law right now, as it stands, since that got struck down in the courts, that the police essentially could kill someone with impunity and get away with it in a court of law. So for those who just tuned into Politics Off the Cuff, we got a 7-minute late start, and you are listening to this amazing show on Rainier Avenue Radio, and we just have our amazing guest, Riall Johnson, currently campaign manager for Darren Morse's campaign.
Yeah, Darren Morse.
For county prosecutor.
Yeah, King County prosecutor.
Precisely.
Yes.
And previously of de-escalate Washington.
Yes. Well, I'm actually Darren's consultant. His campaign manager now is Sean Scott.
Right.
And I am also kind of consulting for another candidate in Thurston named Victor Mean-Hardes, so running for prosecutor.
Excellent.
So if you see the theme, there's a theme of criminal justice reform campaigns that I run. That's kind of my thing. And
So I want to build on that theme because going talking about the way the law is right now.
Mhm.
It's not just that. It's not just that people can be killed with impunity, but within the criminal justice system, it is very, shall I say, biased as to who is prosecuted, how they're sentenced,
Yeah.
things like that. And a prosecutor can change that quite significantly depending on who it is. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prosecutors have huge control over the criminal justice system overall. And I want to make one thing clear with the malice clause. I don't see, even with the malice clause getting changed, I think that's just an excuse for prosecutors to hide behind so they don't have to prosecute police.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're going to anymore, or it doesn't mean they're going to start prosecuting police. We just want to take that excuse away from them. So, when the next time there's a controversial or flat out murder from police, prosecutors are still going to try and find reasons not to prosecute versus reasons to. And so now we just took that really easy, layer for them to hide behind.
Right.
And because the fact is they just never want to do it, even in the most egregious shooting. So I don't expect prosecutors to change. It just now their reasoning is going to change to decline prosecuting, or to do half-ass, prosecutions, or try to cover it up like they are in Texas right now.
Yep. So actually, that is an excellent segue into digging a little bit deeper into, as you put it, some of the, can't really curse on the radio, but we're on the internet now, so we'll get bleeped out later. Don't worry, it's all right. But the half behind, milk with toast excuses they throw out there on why they can't prosecute, right? There are a number of different reasons, but in Texas recently, there was a young black man who was in his apartment doing nothing wrong, just chilling out. Actually, think it was it wasn't even Friday night. It was just a weekday night. A off-duty police officer came in allegedly thinking it was her own apartment and shot him. Right. So Daniel, let's go to the video. And by the way, shout out to DJ Righteousness for being the MC of the afternoon. So go to the video and let's play it. I would just like to get your take on.
There were more protests in Dallas today over the fatal shooting of a black man inside his home by a white police officer. Demonstrators shut down a city council meeting. The family of the victim gave an exclusive interview today to Omar Villafranca.
I am still in denial. I cannot believe that my boy is not there.
All Bertram and Allison Jean want to know is why Dallas police officer Amber Geiger shot and killed their son Botham in his own apartment.
One of the things I would like is for Amber to just complete. Just surrender.
According to the manslaughter arrest warrant, the 30-year-old officer told detectives she returned to what she thought was her third-floor apartment just before 10 p.m. on Thursday. She noticed the door was ajar, and in the dark apartment, she saw a large silhouette inside. She thought it was a burglar. After she gave verbal commands that were ignored, she fired her gun twice and killed Botham.
To hear that, his door was open, he would never, and have the lights off, he would never do that.
Botham grew up in St. Lucia, but the Jean family says he was fully aware of the strained relationship between the black community in America and police.
Botham died in a way that he himself had calculated he could never die.
Botham's funeral is tomorrow, but rumors of what really happened still haven't been laid to rest. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Dallas.
So in that video, there was something that kind of just, jumped out at me, that he himself thought he would never be killed like that. So for you, like, what's your reaction to that? Like, because there are a lot of people that see these things happen on news every single day. Black man in America is assaulted or harassed or killed every single day by the police, whether on duty or off duty. So, what's your reaction to the thought that, it's not going to happen to me?
I don't know how much time we have, and how much can I cuss? Because this is.
Try to be creative in your substitution.
This is a whole lot of cow excrement. What I see, this case in particular. But your thoughts about yeah, would this ever happen to me? I don't know any black men that think that can fully flat out say that. You hope it doesn't, and you don't. You're
Right.
not, and you're never always prepared for it if if there's a chance. Like you want to think you're safe in your own home.
Right.
I've slept with my door unlocked before. I've lived in mostly safe neighborhoods, mostly in my life. But like even in safe neighborhoods, you want to lock your door.
Right.
It's a habit or it's a mistake. It's not like I think he's like, oh, I'm fine in my own home if his door was unlocked. That's like
Right.
like I'm never gonna go off. At any time a police officer kills somebody or hurts somebody, you never want to believe the first story because they always change it anyways. And this story's already changed 3 times. And
Yes.
It's gonna keep changing. The whole process of this particular case is just, it stinks of all kinds of. This is police corruption at its finest, or its worst, whatever how you want to the percent or how you want to use the terminology for it, because she obviously killed the guy,
Right.
admitted to it,
Right.
and they end up searching his home. They have not searched her home. They have not
Right.
done toxicology on her. They're doing toxicology on him. They are trying to criminalize this man who was murdered in his own home, minding his own damn business.
Right.
But they're making every single case in an effort to criminalize him and to make her innocent. And this happens on every case. This is a whole new level, of course.
Yeah.
This is off duty, walked in, whatever it happened.
Just walked
you know.
into your house, like
Yeah.
apartment,
Yeah.
like shot you. Right?
Yeah, and so like I see this all all the time, and the thing is like, and they searched his house. They found marijuana. They also found a police vest. It's like, so this
police
we're gonna find,
vest.
this is gonna get interesting.
I didn't even know
there was
about
police
TV.
equipment. They found police equipment in this person's house, and I doubt it fit him because it probably fit her.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and like I said, I hate to make too many assumptions, but like this is what they found, and they found marijuana.
Yeah. Do you remember there's this Chappelle Show skit about how he didn't want to have too nice of a home because he knew the police would come in there and be like, he can't possibly live in here. This is too nice of a home. He hung up pictures of his family everywhere. He's like, let's just sprinkle some crack on him and get out of here, Johnson.
Exactly.
Right?
That's pretty much, yeah. They found marijuana, which
Right.
if he was smoking weed, he'd be less likely to be
Yeah.
to be aggressive.
He wouldn't be standing up. He'd be dead. He'd be
Yes.
well with that friggin' pun, but he would be asleep.
Which if you search any home in Washington State, yeah, you'd find marijuana most likely.
Right.
So
Hopefully, good marijuana, not the crap marijuana.
yeah,
But, yeah.
weed in the South sucks.
Yeah,
They
no,
need
right.
to legalize that stuff. So
Exactly.
this is the thing. Like this is the thing is I see this. You see this up here. Like
Right.
look at the Tommy Lee case.
Mm.
They shot this kid who had a pen, but they said he had a knife. They didn't say they thought he had a knife. They said he did have a knife,
Mm.
and they changed their story to having a pen. So when they found they shot him, he's dead, and they can clearly see he did not have a knife, but they still reported to the news that he had a pen.
Right.
They've lied. Then they said he was coming at them, but they shot him in the back 3 times. No shots in the front. So then they said, oh, he was running sideways from us to someone else, and it's okay. Well, who were the people he was running to? Were they witnesses? No, there were no witnesses on that.
No.
So either he was backpedaling with a pen, or running, or running away from them, and they still shot him or killed him with a
Right.
pen. And this is the thing: the stories change all the time. And they're never held accountable for that, regardless of the murder or if it's a justifiable shooting. The stories change every time, and you're not allowed to do that as a defense witness. You're not allowed to do
Yeah.
that. If you lie to police or lie to agents, we are held accountable for that. Police are never
Right.
held accountable for lying to the
So
public.
that gets me to a question. I just want to put this out there because we always say, well, why aren't? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious the cultural and structural reasons as to why police are never held accountable, particularly in Washington State, given what we were just referring to.
Yeah.
But let's flip that on its head and really challenge these quote unquote blue lives matter people for a sec, right? What would really happen if police were held accountable? I mean, what would that even look like? I know that's kind of a fantastical thing. That's almost like asking, what is Alpha Centauri like in summer? Because that's how unaccountable police are in the United States these days. But in your opinion, what would happen? What would it look like if police were really held accountable, and how would that affect our daily lives as residents?
Well, it would create way more trust with communities. People would
Right.
cooperate more. I think crimes would be solved faster because you get
Right.
cooperation. People would trust police because
People
they know
want to call them.
because they know they're held, you know, and it would improve relationships and it would make police safer because when these bad cops do these certain things, they make good cops less safe because the good cops either have, you know, or if they have to if they do cover, they're not good cops, but like,
Right.
but it makes people, you know, not trusting even the good cops that are trying to do their job every day. So that's just kind of like, I think having better accountability. If you can be held to the accountability standard of a customer service agent and put in police, then we would have more trust. Because I know at least the customer service agent is not going to hang up on me because they get fired.
Right.
So
Right, you report them, and it's like, okay, you're rude, you're right.
yeah, it's just like that's, if we had police accountability, it would improve community relations, it would
Right.
make police actually safer, it would
Right.
because we would have less animosity against police, because we know they're held to a standard that we are, a better standard hopefully, or at least it's the same standard that we are. So, yes, better police accountability would improve our relations and make our community safer and make crime go down.
Dig it. So, just for folks tuning in, you're listening to Politics Off the Cuff on Rainier Avenue Radio, and I'm here with Riall Johnson, consultant for a number of campaigns, specifically one I'd like to touch on now. Darren Morris for King County Prosecutor, Martin Luther King Jr. County. I bet you never knew that's what the county was actually named, but it is named Martin Luther King Jr. County. That's a full name.
Yeah.
But anyway, so tell us a little bit about, was it Mr. Morris, or does
Yeah.
he have another title?
Darren Morris, yeah.
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
Mr.
yeah, tell
Morris. Darren was introduced to me by a mutual friend because he talked about wanting to challenge Satterberg because he was just tired of the facade, of what's really going on here in King County. We like to pat ourselves in the back thinking we're a progressive county, and Darren and I both agree that there's just a whole lot of talk and not a lot of action or actual policies that actually help that. You know, we have a youth jail getting built, $300 million. They say 230, but it's gonna be $300 million being spent to lock our kids up. We are never hold police accountable for even the most egregious shootings that you see around the country. We have a homeless situation, so there's just a whole lot. You know, like we just don't take care of the poor, and we cater to the rich here more than probably any state in the country. So when Derek came to me and talked about, he wanted to challenge Satterberg, his question is, well, like, why? Because like Satterberg is seen as a progressive candidate, but the thing is, you look at the numbers and look at the real data and look what actually is happening. You know, it's a facade. Our jail populations are still high. Our racial disproportions are even worse. He charges more kids as adults, especially black and brown kids. He gives longer sentences to black and brown people, and he never charges the police for anything, not just murder. Anything. You don't need malice to prosecute the police that assaults people. We had just a King County sheriff a few weeks ago assaulted an Uber driver, kicked him in the back of the head while he was driving because she said he was, she assumed he was kidnapping her.
Wait, hold
Yeah.
on, hold up.
Never heard about this case.
Okay, yeah, let's.
So this
I'm a big fan of Marvel films, so I'm going to use a time stone, and we're going to roll it back because I've not heard about this.
Okay, I'll try and be fast.
Yes.
For time constraints.
Yes.
So for every murder we get by
Right.
police, there's dozens or hundreds of beatings and harassments and profiles.
Of
and all
course.
that stuff. So there's a lot of assaults that happen when police unlawfully assault.
Right.
And we got paid for those because they're lawsuits as taxpayers. The most recently was a case where a King County sheriff was wasted and drunk, got an Uber,
Right.
responsible thing to do, go home.
Right.
But on the way, she assumed that the Uber driver, person of color, immigrant of color, was kidnapping her, taking her somewhere else.
But she called the Uber though.
She called the Uber.
Was
The
she
Uber taking her
that
home.
drunk?
She was that drunk.
Oh wow.
Apparently, or whatever. Started kicking him in the back of the head while he was on the freeway, and he almost crashed. Took her to the police.
Or he took her.
He reported to the police. She got I don't know if she got arrested, but the thing is, she never got charged. He wanted to press charges. He never got charged.
Wow.
She never got charged. And the reasoning that the King County prosecutors used was that she was too drunk to know what she was actually doing. And if that is actual legal defense,
Whoa,
then
wait.
half our people will be out of jail.
Hold up. So can I get away with that? Like,
Yeah.
so if I just like down a couple of like, let's say we'll do the good stuff, rum fire or fire rum, and maybe get some joints from a local Seattle cannabis company. We always can use advertising, guys.
Yeah.
But always can use that advertising money. And I just drive down the street at 50 miles an hour. Can I really use the Chappelle defense and say, "I'm sorry, officer, I didn't know I couldn't do that"?
Yeah. No, I was too drunk to know exactly.
Oh, I was too wasted to know I
Yeah.
couldn't do that.
Which is like, so it means no, you can't arrest anyone for drunk driving, can't arrest anyone for
Wow.
bar fights, can't arrest anyone for there's domestic violence, murder. About 80% of crimes are done with alcohol involved. So
Kind of, maybe this is my arrogance speaking, but shall we play the color of this?
yes, he was a white female police officer and a immigrant of color
Damn it!
driving the Uber.
I thought I could do it.
Or hold officers accountable because you do not need malice to charge for physical assault or corruption, but they still don't file.
So Dan Sauerberg was pretty infamous for refusing to press charges against two Seattle police officers that killed Che Taylor. As I'm looking at this report in 2017, well, in that case, if this is the case, then how, why are people alleging he's a progressive prosecutor?
Well, he did. There's a couple programs that that he's approved of. That he's approved in particularly the LEAD program, which is a very good program and should be expanded around the county. It's only in Seattle right now. I think it just got approved to be expanded to Berrien, and I think another city, Kent maybe. And the thing is, this LEAD program's been in there for years and just been slow to expand because they say funding issues, which is funny. That we don't find funding for things that help people, but we still find $300 million for a youth jail. So that's the irony of this, of why it's not been slow. This expansion is happening now. It's not beyond me. That the fact is, like, there's gonna be a lot more progressive moves made by a prosecutor during this campaign.
Of course,
because he's a Democrat now. First of all. Right. he was a Republican up till May 29th, I think. Donated to the Democrat, donated to Republicans on May 27th. Right. He became a Democrat on May 29th. He's going to be a socialist by October, probably. But
okay.
it's just
welcome to party, comrade.
so the thing is, it's just like when we have to keep challenging people like Satterberg, and this is why when Darren is running, because we cannot leave these things to be held unaccounted for. We have to call this out. You cannot sit there and keep getting away with these things. If no one challenges someone like Satterberg, then he's going to keep doing these things away and control these narratives. The narrative is that he was never going to. The real truth behind the narrative is that he's never going to hold police accountable. Mm-hmm. He only cares about drug offenses because it's something that hits particularly home to him closely. Which is what Republicans tend to do. They don't care about anything until it hits something. Until they can have some empathy that hits something close to home. But the fact is, like, he is still. Still giving longer charges to black and brown people. He is still not holding police accountable. He is still filling our jails up, and he's still for this youth jail, and he's still charging our youth as adults. So, at a huge disproportionate rate for black and brown kids, compared to white kids. So we have to make sure these issues are aware, and this is what we're running on. We're going to run on the issues, and that we're going to change. And we're also going to, we want to get rid of cash bail. He's still using the bail system, and he does not take into account people's ability to pay for bail when they can, when he sentences it. It's a statewide issue to get rid of bail altogether, but for county, you can still adjust the bail to income levels, which he doesn't. So when we're arresting homeless people for certain things, these people are serving more time than they're actually probably getting charged for. So it's because they can't afford bail, and that's the thing. We're throwing people in jail, holding them in jail for charges that they're not even proving convicted of. And even if they're acquitted, they've already served more time than the charge that they would have even served if they got convicted. So you hold people for jail for up to 6 months to 2 years for a charge that they might get 2 or 3 months for.
Right. So why has Dan Satterberg up to this point, and little transparency. Dan Satterberg sometimes says his show, as I'm told, I've never seen him on the Rainier Avenue Radio. So if he has beef, he'll probably find me, as do many people, but I don't care. But still, so why at this point has he been, considered invulnerable, right? Like, why has no one challenged him? I mean, this sounds like a very important position.
Well, the number one reason why prosecutors nationwide, about 95%, up until
Right.
recently, never went challenge. Number one, no one wants a job. Because it's a job,
Right.
it's a tough job. You gotta send people to jail for a living.
Right.
You gotta deal with some real heinous cases sometimes. And so being a prosecutor, number one, being the head prosecutor, it's a big responsibility. It's a big job. So so you can't fault, like, very few people want it, and also you have to run a campaign for it. So it's a job that, it's not usually appointed, they're elected. So so that's the number one reason why I think it's just been unchallenged.
Right.
And it's just like, finally, like, someone stepped up and had the guts to challenge him, and I jumped at the chance to help him, because the changes need to be made. I'm tired of waiting for these slow, tiny, incremental changes that Danny takes all the credit for, even though they're usually spearheaded by the community, and then he just approves them. The thing is, I'm not willing to wait another 4 years to
Right.
to wait for some big changes to happen, and neither is Darren. That's why he's running, and that's why I'm doing everything I can to help him get in that position.
Right.
And already we have a better prosecutor in office right now because Darren's running. Darren has become a better prosecutor. He's giving better policies already,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows. I mean, also this means shows how fake he is. But the fact that he's waiting
No,
for political reasons.
I mean,
but
they
like better
respond.
policies help us, and that's why we're running. And so we've already put a better prosecutor in this office, and hopefully in November there will be a better prosecutor named Darren Morris in this office.
So they definitely respond to pressure. I mean, that's the important of insurgent candidates. And Darren is a Democrat. Darren has, a law degree from NYU, as I'm told, and he's, been working on these defense cases for a while. So I bet he's probably not going to push people to take as many plea bargains as Dan Satterberg.
Exactly.
But anyway, this has been Politics Off the Cuff. We run a little bit out of time, and y'all have been listening to Rainier Avenue Radio. So, just a little shout out to an event going on Sunday from 4 to 5 at the Filipino Community Center. Our amazing state senator, Rebecca Saldana, is going to be having an art show there, as well as a community fundraiser. So get out, meet your state senator, and who knows, maybe you might see Riall, might see myself, and if you're Dan Satterberg, well, you can find us and chew our ear off as to why we're wrong about this, or he could come on the show and defend himself. Who knows? Or maybe Darren could debate Dan.
Well, we got 5 more debates coming. So.
Oh, really? When's the next one?
We had 2 this week. The next one I think is it's hard to, this day escapes me, but Seattle University Law School. We're having a debate, and you can check our Facebook, Darren Morris 2018, or our Twitter for the calendar. But they're all up on our website, electdarrenmorris.org.
Yeah, and also if you have any thoughts, you can email us at politicsotc@gmail.com. Repeat, politicsotc, all one word, @gmail.com. All right, stay good, stay righteous, keep agitating.